Hello everyone and welcome back. In our last video we made it to Tucson, but we had to cut the adventuring a little short as we were there for some much more important and urgent business. We ended up at the dealership in Tucson due to some issues with our van. Our check engine light came on in Corpus Christi. We went to an AutoZone, checked the diagnostic out, and there was something up with our emissions. While this wasn't a huge issue, seeing as we are not under any type of emissions testing in the state we're registered in, we did want to go ahead and get it resolved since it would be covered under warranty. So we spent a hefty amount of our day there while they were able to fix one of the emission hoses that came loose. And then we were on our way again through Arizona, and eventually we called it quits shortly after heading out and stayed overnight at a Flying J. The next morning we drove quite a bit of ways to get across Arizona outside of Phoenix. We found ourselves a very nice spot that we would call home for quite a while, kind of zigzagging back and forth from town to here. This place was extremely quiet. Our neighbors, I'll show you some footage there. Way off in the distance, we had a nice little cove to ourselves. It was very nice, very much needed, and what Paul and I had really been anticipating for a very long time, of just having nothing and being nowhere and just enjoying our surroundings. You can see this is our closest neighbor way far out on that hill. We took many hikes around the hills that surrounded our Miss Penny, taking in the overlooks and just seeing the beautiful sunsets as the sun slowly made its way beyond the mesas and mountains. Here's a collection of turquoise we randomly found around the campsite. And here was another wonderful sunset we were able to film while also enjoying a nice fire to go along and accompany us on a very chilly night. The sunsets are one thing that you definitely do not want to miss in Arizona. They are so bright and colorful. A few days later, we needed supplies, so we were onwards towards the famous Quartzite, known by many and many nomads. This is a huge meeting ground. The town is a little under 2,000 people normally, but with all of the RVers and people and nomads that converge into that area, it brings the population almost to 20 to 30,000 people. We were solely in town for the day to get some errands run, such as getting some water. This place was a nice, easy off destination. The first exit coming in westbound, and it was relatively cheap, only 25 cents per gallon. While in town, we also paid our respects to Hi Jolly. Hi Jolly was an immigrant who came over to start a testing program about having camels with the U.S. military. So he did a lot of testing out within this area. This is supposedly one of his last camps before he passed away. We also took a quick drive over towards the official RTR spot. As you can see, there's many van lifers lined along the way. But it was a little overwhelming, to be honest, and we found ourselves returning back to our old and faithful spot. Unfortunately, we had to head back into Quartzite a few days later as we had severe cloud cover and eventually some rain that came through the area, which really hindered our solar abilities. We checked in at a small RV park and completely regretted it. These are probably the worst restrooms I think I've ever seen, and I've never even bothered to use these, but I did want to film them to show you that it's not always glamorous. Those are not my socks. And I was so thankful to finally be able to leave, but at least, if there's a bright side, our batteries were fully charged. We made it back to the RTR, or Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. There, for a special reason, Bob Wells was the guest speaker for the day. I want to end this video with Bob speaking at the RTR, as well as some of my favorite clips from him.
Real explanations that really deeply explained to me why I'd been unhappy all my life, and then now that I started living nomadically, I was. This is a quote from a man named Aldous Huxley. This reader sent this in to me, this quote. I love quotes. If you've ever looked at my website, it's full of quotes. I love quotes. And this is a quote from a man named Aldous Huxley. Biologically speaking, man is a moderately gregarious, not a completely social animal. And I think that's a really good description. We are social animals, we are pack animals, but boy, there's part of us that wants to get off and be alone. I think that would be, a lot of you would agree with that. I'm that way a lot. I'm a social person, I need a pack, but boy, I need some alone time too. A creature more like a wolf, let us say, or an elephant, than like a bee or an ant. In their original form, human societies bore no resemblance to the hive or the ant heap. They were merely packs. Civilization is, among other things, the process by which primitive packs are transformed into an analog, crude and mechanical, of the social insect's organic communities. At the present time, the pressures of overpopulation and technological changes are accelerating this process. So what he's basically saying is here, in modern life, we live like ants. You know, our society, if you ever watched an ant farm, when, you know, out in the wild, you go out and there's an ant pile there, and they form their little lines. They find food and they form a line going out and a line coming in. And I've looked at those a lot of times and I said, there's the freeway. All these little guys are going off to work, just like I did my whole life. I got on the freeway, drove to work, drove home. They're ants. My whole life I've been an ant. My whole life I've been a drone in the hive serving the community. And in our civilization today, and it becomes more and more this way all the time, you're here to serve society. No one really cares. They hope you're doing okay. They hope you're happy, because if you're happy, you'll conform. So they want you to have a certain level of happiness. they. Who's they? I don't know. There is no they. It's just the way this thing is designed to work. So there is no one individual or one individual group. It's the way society is designed to work, and work really, really well as a society. Individually, it works terribly because you're not an ant. You are much more a wolf or an elephant than an ant. And so a society that takes you and conforms you to a model built on being an ant or being a bee, a drone in the hive, does so to your detriment and harm, but to the good of society.
To read it, hear it. For me, this is my friend talking, it came down to the choice of living a life I wasn't enjoying, but with a certain amount of safety, or living a life I love without a safety net. Very simple choice.
Just simply the fact of work, eat, sleep. Work, eat, sleep. Buy more crap. You can't afford, get a new credit card. Work, eat, sleep, buy more crap. That emptiness and the drudgery and the shallowness of that life. There must be more to life than that. There must be. I wasn't born for this. This isn't my dreams when I was a little boy or when you were a little girl. You didn't dream about this life. If someone told you this was going to be your life, that you would have been horrified.
Bob Wells is a huge inspiration to both Paul and I on this nomadic journey. But that is all I have for you today. Take care, my friends. See you next time.